What's up? Damon Burton here, 15-year agency owner, president of SEO National. I've been around the block a time or two, and I want to help you find the right SEO company. So stay tuned. Here are 9 questions to ask an SEO agency to find out if they are good for you. So before you invest in SEO, you want to better qualify the potential company that you're going to work with. So here are 9 questions to ask an SEO agency to find out if they are good or bad. Number 1, how long have you been doing this? It's probably a good idea to find somebody that has a little bit of time underneath their belt. So you don't need somebody that's been around for 20 years. Having somebody that's been around SEO for at least a few years and they've gone through a couple algorithm changes, they've seen the ups and downs, they'll probably have some humility, and they'll be more honest in their communication on how they're going to fulfill your goals. So number 2, speaking of goals, how will you improve my rankings, right? That's the game. How do you show up higher on search engines? So there's a lot of ways to skin a cat, as they say. So figure out what method works for them. Are they the ones that will be open about their processes? Because that's a good indicator. Are they transparent? There are different ways. It's just like taxes. SEO, part of SEO can be like taxes. There are ways to put more money in your pocket with taxes, but if you are too aggressive, then you're going to raise red flags and you'll have a penalty. So ask them how they're going to improve your visibility. Number 3, a little more of a technical question. How do you approach backlinks? So if you're not familiar with what backlinks are, it's when another website hyperlinks to your website. That counts as a vote in the search engine popularity contest. That is the biggest potential threat to that trigger that we talked about with the taxes metaphor. So if they're too aggressive with backlinks, then that's going to create a footprint, which can create a penalty. So just ask them, are they transparent? One of my biggest things with SEO agencies is anytime if somebody says it's proprietary or they can't clearly communicate what they're going to do, then that's a bigger issue with what's really going on behind the scenes. So one of the biggest things you can ask for is transparency. So number 4, speaking of transparency, how do you track, right? How do they track the progress? What are your KPIs? We always hate these little acronyms in marketing, key performance indicators. So what you have to understand is there's a difference between progress and monetization with SEO. You can see progress relatively quickly, but that doesn't mean you're going to monetize it. So what do I mean by that? Progress is when you go from, let's say, page 10 on Google to page 2. Congratulations, you just jumped 8 pages, but nobody goes past page 1. So that's not going to translate to monetization. So ask them how they're going to communicate that progress. Ideally, there's some sort of measurement of increasing in your rankings, your visibility on search engines, which then eventually converts to traffic as you get to page 1. And then as you get traffic, then you can monitor conversions and sales. So number 5, do you follow Google's best practices? This is kind of a gray area. This is kind of an open-ended rhetorical question, I guess you could say. What you're wanting to get in response is what we talked about earlier. How do they reply? Did they reply transparently? Some agencies are clear on what we say the white hat side, really ethical, but maybe a slower burn, may take longer. Some agencies are openly what we say black hat, and they're really aggressive, and they do not follow Google's best practices. Where you tend to see the best results is somebody that's slightly in the middle, leaning towards the white hat side. You want somebody that can be a little bit aggressive and fight for your results, but you don't want them being so aggressive that you end up getting penalized. Number 6, what do you know about Google's algorithms? You, as you ask them, don't need to know all the algorithms, but what you want is hopefully the person that's replying can tell you at least some basics. They don't need to know every algorithm update from Google, but ideally they're able to communicate some of the core ones. For example, they might say, are you familiar with Google's 2011 update, 2012 update, Google Penguin, Google Panda? What did those target? Those algorithms were meant to level the playing field for people that were being too aggressive with, as we said, backlinks. The other one is leveling the playing field for content. Do you clearly provide good value to your audience? Do you have unique content? So what you're wanting to know is, has the agency been around the block enough to understand the basics of really what Google is looking to provide for their audience? Number 7, this is one of my favorite ones. Can you tell me about an unsuccessful campaign? If the agency has been around long enough, they've probably been humbled a time or two. How did they handle that? You don't necessarily want an agency that has a perfect track record. Sounds nice, but you kind of want somebody that's been burned a time or two so they've learned their lesson. Number 8, who is your longest client? Results speak for themselves. For example, at SEO National, we have clients that have been with us for 15 years. Look for somebody that's had a client for a few years, right? Proof is in the pudding. And last, number 9, can you guarantee number 1 rankings? As sexy as that sounds, you want somebody that's honest, and we'll tell you why that is a no. Yes, we want number 1 rankings, but they should be able to clearly communicate the hurdles that are ahead and how they plan to overcome them. So again, the common thread in this is transparency. Your biggest takeaway is, can you find somebody that can clearly communicate the battle ahead? Every year I hear SEO is dead. What do you think after watching that? Because the data says that every year Google takes a bigger and bigger market share. So I say SEO is here to stay. What do you think? Type it in the comments below and let me know. And don't forget to like and subscribe.